Coming to you from Crash Studios in Music City, USA, Nashville. This is the Rich Redmond Show. On this episode, CMT host and recording artist Katie Cook and guitar session ace Adam Shoenfeld. And now, Rich Redmond.
What is up, everyone? How are we doing? This is the Rich Redmond Show. We're coming to you from Nippers Corner, America. As always, I have my co-host, my co-producer, Jim McCarthy. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing well. I don't know why that made me laugh really hard.
I mean, I'm on a roll today with you.
I know.
Cheap laughs. Well, Jim,
you had me at a tie me to the railroad tracks mustache.
Yeah, I said a lot of the East Nashvilleians, they have the thing, you know, with the corduroys and the top hat. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You say?
Yes. You know, as always, this is the podcast where we talk to songwriters, musicians, producers, comedians, thought leaders. We just have a nice open-ended conversation. And Jim, I'm so excited today because we have a marital powerhouse.
Power team.
We have Mrs. Katie Cook. You know her. She is from CMT, 18 years as the face of CMT, but also a singer, a songwriter, an actress, and an author. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rich and Jim.
And your husband, who I have known a very long time, 24 years, Mr. Adam Shoenfeld, singer, songwriter, fronts a band Digital Brains, also has played on 200 records here in Nashville. He's always nominated for Guitar Player of the Year, and we have been in many recording sessions together.
Always nominated, never.
Me too, buddy. Yeah, I know. Me too. At least you have strings on your
19
instrument.
19 people vote for that anyway, so it's all good.
But you know, it's always like a guitar player that wins.
Yeah.
Drummers never.
The McAnally Award.
Hey, yeah, but Adam, at least Jim gave you some applause. You know, after your intro.
Are you calling him out
that was
for
for the
not giving
birth
you
of you.
applause?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
We really have a lot of fun with these buttons.
and they get progressively worse as you.
I think we need to have these buttons by the bed.
Oh my God! For performance?
Wow, are you calling me out already?
No, for me.
Yeah.
God, guys,
you just don't last that long.
we're gonna have so much to talk about because everybody is such a you're Renaissance people, really,
Totally,
because you're
totally.
total creatives, and you guys are married 5 years.
No, well, not married.
We've been
It'll
together
just
5 years because I
yeah.
was at the wedding and I was apparently drunk.
Yes, yeah. So it was 2 years ago.
You were, yeah.
Dang, when it's visible,
Married 2, together 5.
that's great, guys.
I just heard the stories.
Well, I was there through all of your marital inclination. Incarnations.
Let's not go there.
Not inclinations.
Let's stick with where we're at now. Please, let's not teleport back.
He makes it sound like it's 20.
Yeah.
There was only... Never mind.
2 for me.
Filter.
2 for me. But you know what, guys? This makes me think about music education. You know, I'm a product of music education. I started playing drums in 1976 when dinosaurs roamed the earth. And if only the School of Rock were around when I was coming up. But we're so happy to have our first sponsor, the School of Rock, and my friends Angie and Kelly McCrite over at the School of Rock. There's 2 locations, School of Rock Nashville, School of Rock Franklin, and of the 250 locations in the world, they win all the time, best School of Rock. And so they're cranking out these amazing musicians. They have performances all the time where the kids are like, we're going to learn the music of Billy Joel, we're going to do Motown, we're going to do all Pink Floyd, all Rush, and they kick butt. It's incredible. Yeah. And even, folks, if your kids don't even go on to become professional musicians, look at some of the benefits of music education. It improves the kids' reading, writing, and math skills. It makes their brain work harder. It relieves stress. It boosts their creativity, and it increases their self-esteem, most importantly. So, and hey, at the end of the day, if they come out and they're great singers, bass players, guitar players, keyboards, or drummers, it's a win-win for everybody. So if you're interested in getting your kids into the School of Rock, I got some email addresses for you. It's franklin@schoolofrock.com or nashville@schoolofrock.com. So big thank you to School of Rock. Check them out. All right, let's dive in deep with our guests, Jim. So I don't even know who to talk to first, but I think the commonality with you kids is that you have a group together, a husband and a wife duo called SunKat. And the cat is with a K. And you have a new song out called I love Tom Petty.
I miss Tom.
I miss Tom Petty too.
I love him too. But it's called I Miss Tom Petty. Yeah.
Maybe we should hear it.
Sure.
We don't spoil our listeners with this right away. We'll do a verse and a chorus.
Yeah,
Come on.
A little bit. Come on. I'll lip sync.
The streets were paved with gold. The sun was always shining. We were never growing old. We were too busy flying. So many miles. You were there for the smiles. Could always count on you when things got heavy. I miss Tom Petty. What's
Very nice.
a dream without a friend?
Yeah, a little folky.
Sitting right beside you.
Very petty, I think.
Sounds like him.
You write the book but not the end.
Weren't trying to copy him or anything.
You just hope the good parts come true. So many miles. You were there for the smile.
I love your background vocal arrangement.
Could always count on
You've been serious.
when things got
This is like
heavy.
watching the movie with the commentary in the background.
I miss
Mr.
Tom
Science
Petty.
Theater 2000.
Yep.
That's really good.
That's nice, guys.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
catchy.
And you guys switch off doing leads on some songs, yeah?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we ever sit down and go, hey, let's write a song today that's going to be my vocal or your vocal. I mean, we just start writing, and sometimes it's just so obvious where it starts, who's stronger on it. Some of them are singing from, the top to the bottom of the song all the way together, and switching off verses here and there. I mean, we're just kind of making it up as we go along.
I love it. It's so well recorded, and the songs are great, and it's well produced, and there's some Beatles influences in there, and Americana.
Yeah, we have a lot of influences.
There's stuff in there.
As you know from being with me through the years playing music. You know, it's all in there.
And isn't it satisfying to have your own? You kind of always had your own kind of creative outlet.
Yeah,
I mean, you had Lovejoy.
Yeah. Well, I kind of let it take a back seat once I started making a living, playing music for people that are famous, and as we do, you know, and but now I'm full in diving back in to letting that stuff out.
Yeah. So for those folks that don't understand how the structure, I think of all the music cities, Nashville has the most structure. It's like, hey, we're going to be making music at 10:01 a.m. So you better get there at 8:45 to get your coffee and get your drum sounds and plug in your pedal board. And then everyone's talking, how's the boat? How's the kids? Boom, 10 o'clock, click track, red lights on. We're making hits.
And they're your friends. Those are our closest friends.
I know.
Because we spend most time with them.
We really do.
And when I get home, I'm back down in my own studio working on this stuff. She comes down, she does a vocal track with me, and then she's up working on her podcast, and I'm sitting down there playing with a dobro or a mandolin or an amplifier.
You'll have your own podcast eventually. Everyone's doing it.
No, man, it's all you and her. You guys have it.
Well, what about, and look at, I don't even know who to start with. I know that, but Katie, you're originally from London, right?
Yeah, so I was born in London, and my dad is a songwriter, and he had a band that was really big in the 70s in England called Blue Mink. And as Blue Mink was winding down and he wanted to focus full-time on songwriting, of course he came to Nashville on one or two trips and was like, oh my gosh, I got to get my kids out of London, into Nashville because it's just going to be such a good place to raise the family. And so we moved to Nashville. That was 76, if you can believe that. And he fell in love with the songwriting community here. And like you said, the way records are made, there's the best musicians in the world here and the best writers here. We're biased, but come on, Nashville has I think the richest concentration of amazing musicians on the planet. So
I would say so.
That's what brought us here, and he's still writing today, and I'm so glad I ended up being raised here.
And he was not only a songwriter, but a Hall of Fame songwriter.
He is a Hall of Fame songwriter. In fact, I think he's the only Englishman to maybe make it into the Country Music Hall of Fame, I believe. I should know this about my own father.
Well, that's a good factoid. And so is it true that I was wikiing, Here Comes That Rainy Day Feeling Again? Mm-hmm. And Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress?
Yeah.
And then one that everyone of my generation will know, I'd like to give the world a Coke.
Well, I like to teach the world to sing.
Oh, yes.
And of course it was used for the Coke commercial.
Oh, so got you.
Yeah.
Talk about iconic as a story.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty
a
interesting
little song.
growing up, having people go, oh, I sang that in my class when I was a kid. And, literally people all around the world learned how to sing that song. So I'm really proud of him.
Was that born of the Coke brand first and then?
Well, that's an interesting story, and it's a long story, but I'll make it super short. His songwriting partner at the time, Roger Greenaway, had written a song called True Love and Apple Pie that had the melody, and it didn't, I think maybe it was a single for somebody, but didn't really do anything. And Coca-Cola approached them to write the Coke jingle, and they ended up finishing it with 2 other people from Coca-Cola, and that's when they added the I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony and all that. So
I could have sworn that Barry Manilow had something with Coke years later.
That was a different kind of Coke.
Find it.
Oh, that one stung.
Sorry, baby.
He wrote a lot of jingles. He might have had a Coke
Yeah.
one. Yeah, but I don't think any Coke one was ever quite as big as I like to teach the world to sing.
Yeah.
I don't think.
That was a big one.
Yeah, it was
And
pretty
when
big.
I saw that commercial for the first time when I was 5 years old, I was like, I'm going to snag his daughter.
I wonder if that
One
guy's
day.
got a daughter.
One day.
No, and so Adam, you're a New Englander, kind of a upstate New Yorker. I'm kind of a New Englander.
I'm
We're both from Connecticut.
I was born Long Island.
Long Island.
Long Island.
Long Island. Yeah, you
Grew up
doing
New Jersey,
over
but
there?
I had family strewn through New England, New
What's
York.
the town in New Jersey?
Blairstown. You ever seen
Blairstown.
Friday the 13th?
No way.
She saw it this weekend.
Yeah, we were
the
just
diner,
there.
the streets from that movie, the lake. Yeah,
Oh,
Jason.
look at
Every Friday the 13th.
Is that where it was filmed?
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's first big role, I think.
Oh, I think so.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Jamie
or
Lee
Johnny
Curtis?
Depp. Johnny Depp
Johnny was
in,
not alive yet.
He was in.
Well, he was already.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, that was his first role.
Yeah.
I'm your girlfriend now.
Yeah. I'm your girlfriend now.
Yeah.
That's how he sounded.
Robert Englund. And so what brought you to Nashville? I remember I met you in 99 and we were touring with a guy named Big Kenny on Hollywood Records. We were touring in a van down by the river.
Yeah, several rivers.
That was 1999.
Yeah.
But you were working at Woodland, the iconic Woodland Studios over in East Nashville.
Yeah, I think at that point, God, what the heck was I doing? I was kind of getting gigs here and there, kind of sometimes working at the studio. God, I'm trying to think. It's all a blur. What's my name? What brought me down was I was in a band, and the bass player that played on our recordings was friends with the drummer. He was already down here gigging with an artist and showed the band's music to a manager, and that guy wanted to make us stars.
Yes.
So we all moved down.
With the cigar.
Justin and I came down on our Nissan Sentras, dueling Nissan Sentras down 81. He had a silver one, I had a black one. I had, packed to the gills. We're tossing. I remember tossing my mom's chocolate chip cookies out the driver's side window to him, trying to give him cookies while we're driving.
Just drove down together.
Yeah.
It was nice to have a friend.
Yeah, in the same kind of car, too.
I mean, because, when I moved here, I just had Lonnie Wilson on. He was the first guy to help me.
Who better to have as a friend?
I didn't have a lot of guys. Yeah, like I had to, Jim Riley. We started living together pretty quickly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we were both playing for tips down on Lower Broadway.
Didn't he sleep on your minivan?
I took the seats out of my Plymouth Voyager and made a bed for him. And it's a real rags to better
that's
rags
what
story.
Jay does for him. Jay and Gary do that for him too. They don't let him ride on the bus. They just got a van with no seats in the back.
That's Toad behind the bus.
Toad the Wet Riley.
You're in a mood today.
I'm sorry. I love Jim.
It's just comedic mood, man. I like it.
It's 24/7.
And I like to talk a lot about, commitment, relationships and how that kind of like helps in life. It seemed like when you met Big Kenny, it was like this kind of, I remember it being very cohesive. You guys had like a good relationship, and you grew that into the birth of like the Music Mafia thing with John Rich, and that was kind of like a core for you, because you ended up writing songs with these guys and producing records with these guys. And right?
You know, Kenny really took care of me as a brother, you know, because honestly, you know, we had our rock band Lovejoy before Big and Rich, and it broke up.
Right.
You know,
as all bands do.
Yeah, but then shortly after, him and John get the record deal, and they invited me along, and of course I was kicking myself for quitting the band, because I was like, I could have been maybe part of this record deal, you know. But he always supported me, gave me a huge publishing deal, you know, probably larger than he could afford at the time, but he gave me a big publishing deal, and, you know, made sure I was invited on songwriting adventures, and was just a bro, and always had my back, you know, so, and still does. We don't see each other that often, but I know that he would take a bullet for me.
Yeah,
and I would too.
Yeah, I didn't.
For me,
I didn't keep in touch
as
good as you did. But I mean, I remember that would have been 20 years ago, and I'll see him like backstage at the ACMs or whatever. Well, he and his wife will be in the elevator or whatever, and he's like, I could tell. He's like, you did good, kid. You know, you took the ball and you ran with it. You know, so it's always good.
Yeah, he's a bro.
So you're here at 5 years old, right? 6 years old.
Yeah.
You coming to America, and your big dream, like every chick singer, you want to be a singer, right? You wanted that thing, right?
Well, I think I always knew I'd be in music somehow.
Right.
And I did end up, I was a little too shy to do it in high school.
Yeah.
And I was really into punk rock, and it's weird. I was into country and punk rock. That's kind of, there wasn't a lot in between for me, and I wasn't really sure where to go musically. But after high school, I started kind of really getting more into writing. And then I ended up forming a band with my brother back in England, but ironically, we got a deal back in Nashville.
Was that Reno?
Yeah, Reno.
Okay.
Yeah, you do your research.
Yeah.
So we got signed to Curb Records, and we put out a couple singles. We almost went top 40. We got pretty close, and then the band broke up. You know, which sucks, and I feel terrible, because they spent a lot of money on us, and then we fell apart. And so then I was kind of finding my way as a solo act, basically, when I got the CMT gig.
Right.
So I kind of, and I didn't mean to stop doing music or anything, but I just got so busy. I mean, I've had 18 years of traveling somewhere almost every week, and interviewing all my heroes, and being sort of on the other side of the music business, and coming home at night and being like, I just don't have a whole lot in me to, work on my own music. But I did keep writing. You know, I didn't totally give it up. And then when he and I got together, I tried working on a couple solo, records, and they just never got finished. Once we got together, he was in a similar boat, because you've been writing all these years and kind of having projects, but not really pulling them together totally.
And I had just started the Digital Brain stuff when you and I were dating, and I think us getting together kind of gave each other the confidence. I started going gung ho on the Brain stuff, and then all of a sudden, her and I started writing together, and we tried a couple writing together just to write. Yeah, and they were cool. The songs were okay, but then there was one that happened that was like, it was all of a sudden there was this magical 2 weeks where we wrote 5 songs. It just came out like that. We weren't trying to write.
You can't force that, even though our culture of Nashville is like, we've got to, you have a traditional publishing deal. You're writing 2 songs a day. We got a 10 and a 2. I got a quota, which I guess we do pretty good with that kind of creative restriction.
There's a lot of opinions on that.
Well, I do think it's a muscle, and you're going to the gym every day in this town, and I do think it can get really, really strong. But there is something to still be said about that. You're trying to fall asleep, but you got this melody in your head, and you're like, all right, let's see what it turns into. And then bam, this magic happens. Yeah. I mean, it is really nice when you live with your writing partner, and it can happen over coffee in the morning. You could wake up in the middle of the night. It sounds so corny and cliche, like I woke up at 3 a.m. and I just had to write it down. But we can live that way, and that's pretty beautiful.
That is very beautiful.
And I think we've had a little differing opinion on that whole structure of Nashville songwriting. Like, one thing that kind of sucks for songwriters now is more artists are writing their own songs. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not in with an artist, your chances are that much less of getting a cut. They're still taking outside stuff. Yeah. We know there's still a lot of outside stuff, but you do have a really good shot if you're writing with the artist, and I've always thought, wow, these artists aren't writing their own songs. So to me, that put less weight on the artist. To me, a little bit, in a way. No offense to anybody. I just thought, well, true artists, shouldn't they write their own stuff? And her take on that is, that the '90s country. You listen to those songs, and some of the best songs in the world. And that's the thick of when they were really cutting the best songs written by other people.
Yes.
When writers were making money.
So
we had more writers here, and they really could make a living. And an artist would have their pick of just so much rich material, we could go down a whole road on that, but I still think you can be an amazing artist and never write your own song. It's the way you interpret something. Just like an actor doesn't have to write a script, but they can get into that and relate to it and turn it into something absolutely amazing. I miss a little bit more of that artist-songwriter relationship, old school. I think it made for just excellent music.
Yeah, it can definitely work either way.
McGraw didn't write Live Like You're Dying and Humble and Kind, and they're two of the biggest songs on the planet, and I'm not sure who could deliver them like he did.
Exactly.
And Al Dean based his entire career on finding the best songs.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Thank you, Michael Knox.
It's a great, I want to talk more about that, but we're going to take a quick break and pay some bills.
The Rich Redmond Show will be right back.
Learn by doing, I definitely think resonates with what we're about here at the School of Rock. I'm Angie McCright, and I'm the owner of the School of Rock in Franklin and Nashville. I would say that the majority of kids that come in have either been sitting in their bedrooms, watching YouTube, learning how to play, or they've taken music lessons at some point in their life. We do have a lot of beginners. It doesn't matter what level you're at. You can participate in our programs, whether you're a beginner or you're advanced. We don't teach music to put on shows. We put on shows to teach music.
Connect with School of Rock today. Search School of Rock Franklin or Nashville. This is the Rich Redmond Show.
Coming back.
Redneck Toothpick. That's my next band. Redneck Toothpick.
I was actually, I heard a great name for a cover band the other day.
What's that?
Freezer Beef. Right?
Meat cake.
Yeah.
I guess it just has to have a ring to it.
We are Freezer Beef. We'll be right back.
Oh, God, that's
Please wake Malcolm to the stage.
Okay. So. That was perfect.
Hold on.
Oh my God!
Even has reverb on it.
The reverb. Oh, toilet with a plate reverb.
Oh my God! All right, we're having a laugh
on a plate.
We're talking about songwriting, which Adam, this kind of makes me want to brag on you. This is, and I can't believe it's this many years ago, but 2005, CSAC Song of the Year, Mississippi Girl.
Yeah.
Was it a nomination or a win?
Well, it was.
You won, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was Song of the Year.
Dude, you wrote Song of the Year in 2005.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
that was like,
cool.
And
it was a shock, but it was cool.
That was like right after Hicktown hit the airwaves.
Yeah, I think so.
Right around that time.
Yep.
And we're still all these years later with that team. Michael Knox, Pete Coleman, the same players. Same studio. It's like the place. Time has stood still at Treasure Isle.
Yeah,
and we go and we pick out our coffee mugs, and it's like highly predictable, but it's awesome.
Except that painting is gone.
Yeah, there's that awful painting.
It's gone.
Oh my God. Well, that's a nice feather in your cap.
Yeah, that was an amazing time, and to watch the whole thing happen was amazing. You know, from John saying, "Hey man, come help me write the song," on the bus. And I walk up there, and he had, a lot. He had the idea of the song. He had the title and thoughts, and we spent 30 minutes on it, I think, writing. And he had to go do something, and then maybe the next day we spent another 30 minutes tweaking it. And he said, "Man, this is awesome. She's gonna freaking love it."
Awesome.
And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I just wrote it. Cool. I mean, I thought it was good, but I just didn't know. I didn't write many country songs at that point, and I'm like, this is cool, And we were opening for McGraw at the time, and Faith was on the road with him a little bit, and one day he goes, "Man, she likes the song." Well, let me rewind. I'm sitting up in the bus, and I'm looking up on this hill, and he's sitting there on the hill playing the song for Faith, and I'm in the bus watching out the window like,
It's like a live pitch.
yeah, live pitch. He comes back on the bus. Man, she loves it. I'm like, whatever.
I believe
whatever.
I believe it when I see it. Then next thing you know,
she wants to cut it. I'm like, whatever. Then it's going to be the first single. Whatever. It's going to be number one. Whatever.
Jaded much?
Here's it. I hadn't even had time to be jaded.
But I mean,
and then I saw the first check and I'm like, whatever. Whatever I want right now. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Honda dealer, here we go.
Of course. Exactly. And it's still running. It's
still
got
out there.
How many thousand? Almost 200,000. Yeah.
200,000
That's
miles.
really smart.
Paid for it in cash. So, average it out, it's cost me less than $1,000 a month. No, wait.
Nice.
Oh God, hold on.
We got to do some math.
Wait.
Calculator.
Hold on, baby.
Oh, that's nice. So
Anyway, it was a cheap car when you think about it.
That's a nice feather in your cap.
Yeah, it was
and,
nice.
And then you know that's completely possible.
It is possible.
And that can happen.
It is possible. But here's the problem. Now, I want it to happen every time I write a song.
Yeah.
And it's never happened like that again. I mean, I had a Jason cut, which was really nice. Another feather in the cap. It wasn't a single, but it was nice to get that cut.
Right.
But yeah, every time you write a song, it's like, man. And there's so many people that have been writing in town for years and they've never even gotten that. Yeah. I'm so blessed and so lucky, man. But it makes you want to. I guess maybe that's part of the drive. Every time you have a success like that, it makes you want more because it feels good.
Of course.
So
yeah. But that's not. You have to figure out why we do it, and that's not why we do it.
No,
it needs to be a byproduct of it occasionally.
Right. Well, and that's why we do what we do with our own stuff now. Is like we're getting back to the heart of it.
For sure.
Yeah. So did you have the Riding My Kids Round piggyback in line? Is that yours or?
The one I remember that was mine was the shoot.
Was it the ball cap line?
The ball cap line,
I thought it was
which
the
led to the piggyback. Yeah. The ball
kind of
cap
tied right into it.
Yeah.
Being
that was my
naive,
area.
That was your area.
My areola of the song.
Oh my God.
What?
It's the buttons. It's just too easy. If people want a button.
Here we go.
I think we might change to a different board where the buttons aren't as big.
As long as we can keep this episode from being explicit, we're good.
I think we might have some explicit stuff on here. See, I had the naivete of me moving to town back in 2005. I thought Faith wrote that song. It was like made for her.
Right.
Well, because she delivered it like she wrote it.
Yeah.
A good artist does that.
And John had that Star Mississippi opening line and the idea of the chorus. And
for sure.
Is that where she's from for real? Star, Mississippi?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Katie, tell us a little bit about your journey. You're in Reno, in the band Reno, and then the band breaks up. You're regrouping. Is this right? Is this wiki right, where it says in 2001 you went to an open casting call to be a host of CMT?
Yeah, so what happened, before I was doing music full time, before I was paying my bills with music, I was cutting hair. And so I knew all the, salons in town, all the stylists. So when my band broke up, I was still signed to Reno. I still had my publishing deal, but still signed to Curb, because of the Reno deal and still had publishing stuff. But it was like, it was dwindling down. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And I didn't really want to get back into cutting hair again. That's a commitment. You're building up, a following and all that. And I was like, what do I do? So I called a hairdresser friend of mine. I was like, I will literally come sweep hair, answer the phones. I'll wash hair. I'll wax eyebrows. I just got to make literally a few $100 a week for the next few months till I figure out if I'm going to stay in this record deal or what I'm going to do. So it's just kind of in between. One of those stylists that was at that salon said, I hear CMT needs VJs, how they used to call it VJs. His name was Tony, and he's like, I wonder if I can get an audition. Well, I had just put together a new band since my band had broken up, some backing players. And the drummer was dating a girl who worked for CMT. I literally called her and said, how do we get my friend Tony an audition? So she's kind of telling me what agent she used and all that. And then she's like, they need a girl too. Why don't you come along? I was like, I'm a musician. I'm a singer. I'm a writer. I don't know anything about TV. And she's like, well, you really just talk about music with, people that you probably already know anyway, and I did know a lot of artists. Yeah. And she's like, and I met Dolly Parton this week. I was like, oh, hold up. And you get paid. And then she told me what she got paid, which really, it's funny because back then I think of it now and it really wasn't a lot of money, but it was like, 10 times more than I was making right then. I was like, okay. So I went with no attachment and no TV experience and no journalism experience. What I brought to the table was just I could talk music, right? And because there was no attachment, I wasn't very nervous. I mean, everybody else had their headshots and their resumes.
And they really wanted it bad. And you're like, oh, I'll just check this out.
Yeah, and my hair was like the color of this wall. It was fire engine red, and had my, I used to have my lip pierced, my nose pierced, and was rocking my tattoos, and, was dressed real funky. And I thought, there's no way they're going to go for this. But they liked something about me. And they called me back a couple weeks later, and they were like, you're like on our short list, but we hate the way you look. I mean, they were like, we hate your look. I was like, well, this, I got to stay this way because I'm really an artist at heart, and I know you wouldn't use me for more than a month or two anyway.
But you had that short blonde hair forever.
Well, so they talked me into the short version of the story. Basically, is they were like, please reconsider your look, and we'll keep letting you audition. And I blew it off for a couple of weeks, and they called back, and they were like, you're actually in like our top 10, and we've interviewed like a couple thousand people. We've looked at tapes from like around the world.
So what was it, like a cold read? Just read this copy?
No, it was going in and holding up cue card. There was somebody with a camera, and they held up cue cards, and I was pretending I was, tossing back to the countdown. So, I'm all like, here's Tim McGraw, number 19. I was all like, I was just trying to act like someone on TV. I was like pointing at the camera and like, and winking, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I was like, just act like someone on TV. Anyway, they did talk me into bleaching my hair and pulling the piercings out and covering the tattoos and dressing really normal. And I've been fooling people for 18 years.
The edgy girl in the yeah, okay.
Yeah, so...
And the Connecticut clothing.
I mean, I seriously thought I would do it maybe 6 months or a year, and then they would just be like, all right, you need to move along. But then, I don't know, I kind of fell in love with it. I'm curious. I like to talk to people. I love musicians. It's kind of perfect.
And it kind of, so many things. CMA, live from the red carpet, ACM, live from the red carpet, CMT, from the red carpet, all the shows, the countdown shows. And that grew into other things. Did you host the Miss America live from Las Vegas?
We did, yes, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Look, it's all right here.
I wasn't the main host. I can't remember the actor's name now, but I was his sidekick backstage, and then ended up doing a Nashville Star with Billy Ray Cyrus. Did 10 weeks. I think it was 10 weeks of that live when that was in Nashville.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and just getting asked to do odd appearances. Was on the show Nashville a couple times, One Tree Hill.
When did CBS's As the World Turns happen?
I forgot about that.
Look at this.
I didn't even know about that. What the heck?
Well, we were I probably hadn't even been at CMT more than a year or two, and they were like, we need you to come. What the cool thing is, I've been asked to do these things and get to play myself for the most part.
Okay.
And that's really cool, because it's like, my bio says I'm an actress, but I'm just basically being myself, so it's not really a stretch. Right. But yes, that's right. It was on As the World Turns.
You're an actress.
I'm a natural at being myself.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been studying this craft for 4 years, and you're always going to bring your own essence to it. And I'm never, I have no desire to do period pieces and wear white wigs and talk in a British accent. I'm always going to play
I wish you would.
The fun husband, the music producer, the douchey best friend, I'm going to be the cop, the detective.
We know.
I'm going to do that stuff because it's in my lane.
Can you do a good British accent still?
Oh, if I get really drunk.
Yeah, because you lost it.
Right.
Funny.
Yeah, I did.
That's funny you should ask. We were at her nanny's house.
Yeah.
And first
in
time
England,
I met her nanny in England. And of course, she's the only one without the English accent in her family. And we jokingly will go into it. And we started, I don't know what possessed us to go into it,
After
sitting on the floor.
No, we do it all day at home.
All day at home.
A cup of tea. I mean, just but we do it really bad.
That's a cult thing, isn't it? We go into it, and
silly.
her cousin, she said, in a real English accent, she said, "Who brought Dick Van Dyke?"
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, exactly. It was so bad. But we do it all the time with the kids, and we're just joking around. And
hers is good, though.
But yeah, I'm the only one in my whole family that lost the English accent, so they all make fun of me.
You have a little bit of a Southern accent.
I could hear it.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit of the Southern.
Did I ever tell you my story about my British accent?
No.
Where I was hired to do a pool company out in Vegas, wanted me to do a British accent.
Really?
And we actually at the time had a guy living with us. My wife and I took him in. He was from England, and yeah, I did this British accent that was just god awful. I mean, it was like,
did they keep it?
I can't remember the name of the.
Did you get paid?
Renaissance pools. It was a Robin Leach. That's what I was trying to pull off.
Oh yeah.
Hello everybody. Renaissance pools and spas, and this guy's out. He's like, dude, that's awful. I'm like, I know it's awful, but they're paying me $800. I mean, okay, yeah, that sounds like it was pretty much like a fart in a way.
Yeah, people are always asking, what gear do you use for your podcast? It's called the Rode Podcaster. It's the Rodecaster Pro, and it's got built-in sound.
Ow!
Yeah.
And Jim and I have way too much fun with these things. And now that the guests know where they are, we are in trouble. We're in trouble. So, Adam, like when you... there's so much going on. A lot of people that listen. You gonna read it right now?
That book you can get on Amazon.
For the listeners, Adam is holding up my Crash Course for Success book.
It's on Amazon.
It only took 48 years to write.
And you have the audiobook up now.
Yes, actually, the book is available in the Kindle. They can have it delivered to your house in a physical Dead Tree version, or you can listen to me read my own book, which is really, really fun. So for all the kids that are coming to Nashville, you know, they're like, okay, I got $250,000 of debt. I just went to the Berklee College of Music or the University of Miami, or I just went to Musicians Institute, and everyone's telling me to go to Nashville. And I mean, look at your pedigree here, man. Like of the 200 records, like you're playing guitar on Luke Bryan records, Keith Urban records, Blake Shelton, Tim McGraw, Lee Price, all the Aldine stuff. What is a session musician these days? How does it work? How do you get the work? What are the expectations?
Oh, God.
It's a lot, right?
Well, the easiest part is the expectations. The expectations are you play well, you're a good hang.
Right.
Gotta
love coffee.
You enjoy what you're doing. You respect what you're doing. You respect the fact that it's not your record. It's the record of the person that you're playing for.
Right.
Your opinions sometimes should stay to yourself, and knowing when your opinion counts and when it doesn't,
knowing how to read the room.
Right.
Have you ever spoken up when you shouldn't have?
Not really.
That's why he still has the job.
No, not really. I mean, honestly, the only time I like to tell the story, and it's just funny because we all know Michael Rhodes is the most badass bass player on the planet.
Yes.
And right when I was feeling like I was accepted, by Michael Rhodes, and I'm like playing with him, I'm doing this guitar part, and I said to him, "Hey man, it'd be really cool if the bass doubled that thing." And he looks at me. He goes, "I don't want to."
Duly noted.
I was like, okay.
I'll crawl back to my ashtray.
I love him. He loves me. We're buddies. But that was the only thing I could think of where I felt like I overstepped the boundary. And I don't mean to make him sound bad, because he does what he does, and he knows where he's at with it. And
have you guys ever been in a position like, you guys having the kind of pedigree that you guys have, where you're in a studio and you have the guy in the studio and you're like, oh no, just stop?
Oh God, yes.
Like what, without mentioning names, tell us like what comes to mind.
Rhymes with. You know what? There's just, I would never call anybody out. There's just some people can talk too much and offer too many ideas. And you really need to know when it's your time to do that as a musician, especially when you're a young musician coming in and you're accepted into the fold here in Nashville.
Kick butt with a smile on your face.
I think to get there, it's all a matter of, I tell everyone, listen, you have to be good. You have to be a good hang. But if you're not in the right place at the right time, it's never going to happen. And the only way you can be in the right place at the right time is to do every darn thing you can think of to do it. Play for free.
Yeah.
Play for nothing. Go do that gig you think is crappy, that you are looking down on. That gig might be the gig where so-and-so is out in the audience and goes, I want that guy to play for me.
Yeah. It's like when people say, like, Rich, what clubs did you play in Nashville back in the day? I said, All of them.
But do you think that people are willing to do that these days?
I think so.
The young whippersnappers?
No. There's a strong force of young guys and girls in town now that are really going after it. I think. Really? I honestly think, with the exception of you, in our generation, it was a little more of, hey man, I'm a musician. I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna try to make it happen, and something's gonna happen, and we all just kind of did it. At least the people I hung with, and we boom, all of a sudden we were there. Where I think now, because of how popular Nashville is and how it's really one of the last places you can make the kind of living you can make making music, people are coming in going, I want that gig.
Yeah,
which is. It's a little weird.
They're coming with their skills.
I'm just getting used to it. You know, seeing these young guys that are really kicking butt. They're coming in, and I'm, a couple of years ago, I was like, how do you get the gig? You leave and let me have it.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, it's
how
like,
voiceover works.
Yeah. But no,
But you share your information freely.
I do. I'll tell you what, back in the day, man, it was nothing. When I was coming up, it was nothing for somebody to call me or anybody else and say, hey, can you do this session? No, I can't, but you should call my friend, blah, blah, blah. Now it's kind of turned a little more where it's like, no, can't, sorry. No one's, I'm just saying, I don't think as many people are willing to give the gig off to off to somebody else.
I recommend many drummers,
too.
but
I do too.
I don't get recommended.
We're already there. We've already done. We've done this. Right. I'm not saying we've plateaued. There's more for us, but we've done this, and we've gotten to that point of, wow, we're there.
We're doing it.
So now we get this.
It's the roller coaster of music business. Yeah.
So once you do that,
But I know exactly how you did it, is because you always had the full package. You were always a great hang. You always had a nice image. You were approachable. You were easy to work with. You always had the sounds. And Katie, I get to see this guy do these, guitar overdubs on Aldean's records, and it's just like goes in and there's like a perfect Keith Richards guitar solo, and then there's a perfect a more cheap trick. Oh, like this. Oh, now a slide. Okay. Oh, can Ebo? All right, no problem. You want some more of that? It's just like in the people pleasing business, right? And then in the end, you end up pleasing yourself because you have pride in your job and your craft. There's an art to it, but you're actually mixing art and commerce and craft all together. And then you're one of the 0.00001% of the people on the planet that have a piece of wood with 6 strings on it that can go in and do that and then hear themselves on the radio 10 million times a day. Wow. You did that.
I suppose I did.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
It is incredible. And to also be such a sought after touring musician as well. And because how hard it can be to do both. A lot of people have to pick one or the other. Yeah. And you are two of the guys in town that still get to do both. I
just told myself, I will not pick a lane. I can't. I like the visceral and the impact and the sweat of a live performance, and that's why we get into it. But at the same time, I love the craft of creating something that changes someone's life, the artist.
Absolutely.
And also is around forever. It's a snapshot of a performance caught in time that we're a part of.
Yeah.
Why would I want to choose between those two things?
Yeah, and there's such a different thing from both lanes.
Yeah.
Or all the lanes.
Yeah.
That 20 to 50,000 screaming people to the 10 of us sitting in a room going,
sweating.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Am I,
Can you turn the AC up?
Yeah. Pete, did you actually record that take? Did we waste it?
Now, Katie, what do you think about, paying it forward and you have to give it away to keep it? Do you get approached by kids all the time that I would love to do what you do, Katie? How can I host on a television show? How can I do this?
Yeah, no, I talk to people all the time about it. The one thing I feel bad about is they always say, where did you go to college to get your journalism degree?
Yeah.
And then I'm just kind of like, I just grew up
Gold
in
rush.
clubs. And
Gold rush
exactly.
university.
Accident when I was 13.
I mean, you faked it till you made it, and then whatever, they loved your essence, And then I'm sure they were like, "Don't use your arms so much," like because you were like doing.
No,
all
you
that.
know what? I wish they had told me more. They just threw me out there to the wolves, and I didn't know what I was doing.
That's amazing.
And well, I guess I'm still here, so I'm doing something right, I think. But I talk to people all the time, and like you said, you have to be in it to win it. You have to take advantage of every opportunity that comes along. You have to be in this town if you want to do country, And I just try to give people the best advice I can. And when I can't do something, I have a whole list of people that I recommend.
Nice.
And there have been a few people that have reached out and said, can I take you to lunch and just pick your brain? I'm like, absolutely. And I'll tell you everything I know, because if I'm not right for the job and somebody else is, it's not supposed to be my job, and somehow I've been blessed enough to be right for the CMT job for the last 18 years, but sooner or later it's going to be somebody else's, and I hope they do great, and I'll share whatever I need to share so that they can step in and take right over and be great at it. I mean, you have to just know where you're supposed to be, do your best, and when it's time to move on, you move on. And there's so many other things I love doing with my life anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad nobody stopped me from getting the gig.
Yeah.
So you got to pay it forward. I think that's super important,
what you would crush at? I don't know if you would need to do this or have any interest in doing it, but there's so many resources now for online training programs for people that want to teach Pro Tools or teach drums or teach studio guitar or teach TV hosting. Oh my God, with your pedigree, you could create a program one time. It's there evergreen forever. And then people just, and I think more people would want to learn how to host a television show than play drums.
Well, there's probably a lot less jobs available for somebody that wants to host a TV show, but you're right. I think people would want to hear from somebody that had actually had done it. And I actually have been doing some media training, and I'm actually working on a guide for people, how to handle the media and how to understand both sides of it. And I think because I come from a music background, maybe that's helped me in my job all these years. Is I know when I'm talking to somebody, I know what it feels like to be an artist being interviewed by somebody who's done no research on you, doesn't really care,
And you have to lead the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. I've been on both sides of it, and a lot of artists are, they can get out on stage and be a total rock star in front of 100,000 people, but they're horribly shy when they're one-on-one with somebody.
You have to distract.
Oh gosh, it's awful. And I can interview people all day, but I'm still learning how to be interviewed. I mean, it is a weird thing. So yeah, I don't. Maybe I will do that sometime.
But you can tell somebody how to be interviewed, even though you're getting used to being interviewed.
Yes, and I do.
It's interesting, because you know what you want as an interviewer to hear.
Exactly. I can tell them, here's why you're being asked the same question 100 times today. It's not because the interviewer's stupid. It's because they have an audience and they need, there's information that has to be delivered. And here's why you need to know what a soundbite is. And here, all those little things. So I have been working with artists quite a lot recently with media training. And I have kind of thought about
coaching.
Really? Yeah, I've been approached by a lot of people about putting together programs, to teach that, but it's kind of like, we can't even find enough time to record the songs we're writing. There's so many things I want to do. I'm writing a couple screenplays right now. I have ideas for more books. There are not enough hours in the day for all the things I want to do.
What are the children's books? Your children's book? Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, so Little Big Bennie. It's the boy who didn't know he was the universe. He is very, very curious about the world around him, very curious about outer space. What he doesn't know is he is the host to all these little beings that live within him. So it's all macro, micro, and on this microscopic level are all these worlds, and they don't know that they are part of him. They too are curious about the universe and where they come from, and if there's a higher power, and who else could be out there, just like we're curious about, are there aliens in outer space? Are we being watched? And I mean, that can go on for infinity. I want kids to really open their mind and think about, I could be living in a universe that actually is, under the toenail of a giant. Or I'm so big, I shouldn't step on that ant just because I'm big.
Endless possibilities.
It's endless, and it goes in both directions. And what has the grander field of vision?
And that's for fifth graders, did you say?
Well, it's middle grade. Yeah, so I think depending on the reader, it could be as early as 7, probably maxing out around 11. But I'd really like to see it animated. And I also want to do an audio version because I think that would be a lot of fun. But it's a trilogy, and you can go to littlebigbennie.com.
That is
to
great.
Find it. Thank you for asking about it.
Yeah, because I know that market is very segregated into the age groups. It's like, because I want to write, the adventures of Richie the drummer, little Richie the drummer, and the kid, he goes on his journey. He's playing drums in the world, teaching lessons, like life lessons, and it could be for probably the little kids, K through 3 maybe, but then you're really relying on the power of the illustrator, because the illustrator, has to be. So any illustrators out there that wants to do a co-venture here, we will split 50-50 the adventures of little Richie the drummer.
I think that's a really good idea. But you're smart to do some research beforehand. I get downloaded with ideas. They come to me so fast and furious, I can barely even write quickly enough. And I almost sit back and go, who wrote that? And this whole idea for the book came to me that way. And I just kind of put it out. I mean, I took a couple of years to write it. It is a lot to write. I mean, because, they're over 100 pages each, and it's a trilogy, and I had to keep editing and everything. And then, like you said, all the artwork. So it is a lot to do it. But I just did it all and then thought it would find a home. And what I found talking to publishers, they're like, if you just come to us and asked, what void we want to fill. And I'm like, but that's not how you make art. I don't want to sit and write a song and go, all right, well, who's looking this week? And let's really try to hone in. I mean, you can do that. But I think the best art gets made when you're just like, where did that come from? That just plopped out of nowhere, And that's how Little Big Bennie was for me. And so I feel like it will find its home. But I didn't do the research ahead of time, and I got a feeling you will. I think you'll know what you're doing, and that's smart. In the book world, is very smart.
Well, I mean, both my books. Well, my first book, children's book, I published through a major publisher. I make $1 a copy. It's not a good deal. And then I decided to self-publish.
Right.
But then you're front loaded with all your costs. Like you're like, okay, oh my God, a logo, and then the photography, and then the editor, and then you get hit left and right. But it's a modern day business card, is what it is.
It is. Yeah.
We're not going to retire like Stephen King. I mean. You have a wider audience than I do.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
So
the children's audience,
and that makes me think of, like, you were talking about the universe and everything, and you have a podcast that you're interested in.
Yes, Wide Open Wonders is my new podcast, the Wow Podcast, and it's called Wide Open for a reason. I want to cover all things paranormal, and so I lump everything into the term paranormal, from ufology, crop circles, consciousness, ghost hunting, cryptozoology, all of that stuff.
What are your thoughts on the pyramids? How did we make them without machinery? Go.
Water.
I think there are a lot of things around the world that we had help with. I'm a big believer in that. Well,
from aliens?
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
But I think you look back, it'd be pretty dang hard to just sling those rocks around. I don't care how many slaves you had, and I don't care how many years you had to build it. That's really a lot.
There's some heavy rocks.
Yeah. I mean, gigantic rocks, guys.
Yeah, and the way they're fit together. I mean, there's so many places around the world you're like, we couldn't build that now with those natural stones. And you're telling me that people did it years ago from hundreds of miles away where this rock would have been, cut from. I don't think so.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen a lot of things. I still haven't seen the Grand Canyon. I'd like to see that. And I still haven't seen the pyramids.
Who dug the pyramids
either?
I mean, maybe some Chichen Itza. That would be fun to see.
I've climbed that pyramid.
Yeah.
Been inside. That's pretty cool. It doesn't look that big from the ground. Then you get up there and you have to come back down, and you're kind of on your butt scooching.
Yeah. and the Amazon.
Scooching Itza.
The Amazon sounds like something that would be fun, just because that jungle is so alive, but it's teeming with things that can kill you every square foot.
It's like Australia.
Take pictures and send it back. I'm not going.
Yeah.
Tell you what.
It's like Amsterdam.
So, Jim, ask Adam about Digital Brains while I look up their music.
Digital Brains?
Yeah, it's his band.
Digital Brains. So, Adam, tell me about Digital Brains.
Digital Brains. Well, in a slightly darker period of my life, I started writing some very angry metal songs. Not really metal, just rock and roll.
It's more melodic now.
And it's my rock side, like where SunKat is, I call it my light side, and Digital Brains is my dark side.
Right.
I just started embracing my rock roots and writing songs, and got together with my friend Corey Boys, dear friend Corey Boys, who's an amazing drummer.
Yes, he's all heart.
And we started putting the songs together. We, gradually started by doing some with some friends, hired session guys, and then, finally found our bass player, Danny Falo, who is an amazing bass player.
Great guy.
Amazing singer. He's a better singer than I am. And I keep saying that. One day maybe he'll sing, but he sings with me. We do a lot. We're getting, the music's getting grungier as we become a band, So, the stuff that we have out isn't as grungy as we're getting.
But there's some beautiful, like Foo Fighter melodies, very memorable.
Thank you.
And then you sound great, and there's a lot of anger, and there's not a lot of stuff to get in the way. Three guys.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You know what? I mean, and we try not to do too many overdub things. We, have one friend that was mixing one of the songs for me, and he did this stuff on it. I'm like, it's a little much. He goes, yeah, but you're making a record. You're not. And I'm like, yeah, we're making a record, but I want people to come see us and not to have it sound that much different, and yeah, man, it's just getting really cool. And that some of that, that darkness, like there's a couple of songs we're about to put out that have a little political overtones. I've always kind of, I don't know, man. I've always been a little angry at how the world, just how the world is run. I mean, let's be frank. I mean, there's a lot of BS going on.
Always.
Well, no matter what side you're on.
Sure.
If you're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter, man. But nobody's coming together, man. Nobody's coming together, and they haven't for years. It's an age-old thing. I don't know if they ever will, but it pisses me off, frankly.
Yeah.
So a lot of the lyric, I dig into my darker side, and we write some of the lyrics together, and but now we also, a lot of the tunes, like the song "Shut Up" was one of the Self-Destruction and "Shut Up." They were two of the first ones. That's a SunKat song.
Sorry, guys, SunKat was.
Oh, hey, JoJo.
The sunlight was muddying the darkness of Digital Brains.
But like, it's just weird. It's just cool to watch it grow. Like if you were 16 and getting in a band, it would grow and get better and better and better.
Well, I think
it's the same thing now. Like we started as a band together, and it was like we thought, oh yeah, it's gonna be freaking great because we know what we're doing, and it's good from the start. It's okay, but as we see it get cooler and cooler, it's like, oh, you still grow.
Yeah.
No matter how old you are when you do a band.
We did that fun show together a couple months ago at the Mercy Lounge, and Nashville came out and supported, man.
Yeah.
It was you guys and this band, The Fell, that I was like, I think I'm the third drummer in the band, and I think they're already on their fifth drummer. But it's like super involved melodic rock, highly produced, and tons of layers of keyboards and loops. And I have this mixer and the ears, we dialed in the ears all afternoon. You guys went out there and just like, do that, still do that, still do that. And just like, it was great.
We just, you know what? It's a true band in that sense.
And Corey's really into horror and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and punk. He's a punk, man. He is a punk.
He had like a George Romero sticker on his drums, and I was like, bro, we're the same.
Yeah.
It's like that scene from Pulp Fiction, like, spider has landed in the web. Go get the gimp.
Yeah.
So if I had to play one of these songs, what would it be?
Well, of those songs that are out right now,
is there something new that's coming out that I can see here?
Man, if you want to give a little hint of something that's coming out, I sent you a little link to a song.
For some reason, I'm thinking like Cookie
We have
Monster
a song
vocals.
called "The Itch" that is coming out on November 15th. I don't know when this is airing, but
Jim, can I play? I can do this here from my phone, right?
You should be able to join it.
Yeah, let's.
Is your computer not?
It's not on Spotify yet. It's on my phone.
Oh. Well, or if you have your the link, you can throw it yourself, or you can just play one of these. I'm being difficult here. But you know what? Self-Destruction is a good one. This is one of my favorite ones. It embraces, for me, you hear our Stone Temple Pilots influence. You also hear us as a true rock band. And you get some of those melodies, and this was one of the first ones that we really came together as a band.
You know what I'm curious about, though?
Yeah.
What would Katie sound like introing this if it were on the countdown?
Self-Destruction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should I do it?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right, guys. Now we have Digital Brains and Self-Destruction.
Self-destruction. Why you gotta make it feel so good? It's my fault. Deconstruction. Am I understood? Curse the day.
It's the next chorus that's really awesome.
Very Alice in Chainsy in a way.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
Range with the whisper.
Once the mosh part comes, it's coming up.
It's what I do. I need a little bit of self-destruction. Why you gotta make it feel so good? It's my fault. Deconstruction. Am I understood?
I'm proud of that one.
See, at that part, if it were a death metal song, it'd be like, at that point.
A little bit of self-destruction. Why you gotta make it feel so good? Cookies. Nom, 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 nom.
Does it go back to the old tempo?
No.
Wow. It's like a rule breaker, man.
Yeah.
There are no rules in rock and roll.
That's right.
Can I backsell it?
Backsell it.
Congratulations to Digital Brains. They have the #1 video of the week on our countdown. Join us next week when we're going to play even more Digital Brains.
Wow.
It's nice to have somebody
says
here.
about the band with no video.
More brains.
Finally, somebody on the show that understands what a front sell and a back sell is.
I love that.
Love it.
My God, that is just great music, man.
Thanks,
I was just
man.
so
Thanks.
impressed.
I
You
can't
hear the
I can't wait
influences
for you,
there.
for the people to hear the itch. We're going further. It's getting better and
Yeah.
better. And we got a couple. Like I said, we have a song that I'm going to have a friend start playing on his podcast called "It's Killing Me."
Like a theme
Jason
song or
Piccolo.
something?
It's about, it's his podcast deals with military and police, PTSD.
Oh, wow.
We had the song "Resurrect Me" that just fit perfectly for that cause and those people, and he's going to start playing it. And that song is, while it's an older song that started with me before the guys got their hands on it, it's going even further in the rock land. And then the itch, which is coming out, is just, it's further. It's, it's becoming such a package. It's the three of us now.
Yeah.
It's pretty rocking.
And you record that at your home studio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally right underneath the living room.
I love that you guys are two creative beings that found each other I guess we're in the second act of our lives.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
Well,
No, you're still.
I think I got a couple of years and then I'm going to call it the second act.
Well, I mean, I would say there's 3 acts, right? Don't you think? I mean, when I consider the third act like colostomy bags and extreme arthritis and stuff like that.
That's the name of our next record.
Colostomy
extreme arthritis.
Yes.
Extreme arthritis.
Extreme arthritis.
No, I can see. Yeah, because Katie, you and I are about the same age. So,
Yeah.
So no, we're all about the same age.
Is that colostomy?
It does.
That's what we have to look forward to.
Okay.
And the third act.
Once you're 35, like you guys, I mean, it hurts.
Shit, I have to take these buttons away from you, Jim. I mean, seriously, you're supposed to help the quality of the show as a producer.
It was appropriate. We were talking about colostomy bags.
It was.
So no, I just think it's so impressive, and it's just so great to see two
you.
people so in love and combining their talents to create something special. And what's on the agenda for SunKat? What are you guys are like a big festival, petty festival coming up or something, right? Or did you
Just did it.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that?
Gosh, that was so great. So yeah, we have the song "I Miss Tom Petty," and So Steve Ferroni, drummer that was a heartbreaker for 25 years after
Sure.
Stan Lynch. He's got his own radio show on Tom Petty Radio.
Nice.
And he heard the song because of our wonderful friend David Santos, who played bass on it.
Yeah.
David tipped him off to it. So Steve played the song. So basically some Petty fans heard the song because of that radio show and kind of threw our name in the hat of people that ought to be able to come play the Petty Bash, and the organizers heard about us, and we gently bugged them a couple times and said, but yeah, we'd love to do it, and they said yes, and we were like, really? Okay, we'll be there. And we just played it, and we just met all these amazing Petty fans. To be in one place with all these people that love Tom like we did and get to play that song for them was really great. And the weather did not want to cooperate, but I tell you, that
Florida.
rain, it dried up 5 minutes before we went on, and the sun came out halfway through, and we just felt really blessed to get to do it.
SunKat.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
and so we had the album, our first full length album, came out the day before that show, and that's out now. And I mean, I don't think we really have a plan.
Yeah, so SunKat and Digital Brains on your Spotify. I mean, it's
we both can't keep our minds from moving. It's just the way we roll.
We have to create. We go crazy if we don't create.
Hey, it would be nice if we could make a third of the living we make at our main gigs doing the stuff that's totally in our hearts and our art. That would be amazing. And if we could achieve that goal with any of these things, whether it be SunKat or Brains or podcast or Little Big Bennie writing books, that would be amazing.
we all kind of have our hands on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Jim's
Yeah, you do too.
Jim's got a lot of things. He's Jim McCarthy voiceovers.com, and he has a lighting company, Big Dot Lighting.
Yes.
.com.
Is it Big DOT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Big Dot.
Yeah,
And electrical.
A lot of things happening. And then if you guys, I'm assuming there's the Instagram thing, which is like where all the kids are.
Yeah. SunKat
TikTok these
Official.
days.
SunKat Official on Instagram and Digital Brains Official on Instagram.
And guitar players can find you on Instagram too, right?
Yeah, Schoenfeld.
That's right.
Just
Your last name.
Schoenfeld. Schoenfeld.
Yeah, I'm the Katie Cook.
I love it.
I
The.
also have Little Big Bennie. There's a lot of Katie Cooks in the world. So, I had somebody helping me a few years ago set up socials, and they were like, just throw a "the" in front of it. And I said, well, that sounds a bit pompous. And they were like, oh, everybody does it. And then I looked it up, and it was like, the Ryan Seacrest,
Yeah.
the this. And I was like, okay.
The next iteration of that is the real
Yes.
Katie Cook.
Yeah. That's, hopefully
it's
I
a
won't have to
little
go
pompous.
there, but.
I learned so much, and I was so inspired. Really great. What did you learn? What did you learn?
What did you learn?
I learned that I have the greatest friends in the world, and they're all very, very Renaissance people, and they're making their lives work in a special way.
And might I say how proud I am of you for always following all your dreams and doing it all,
Thank you,
man.
brother.
Yeah, you inspire a lot of people.
You do, man.
We just try to do it unapologetically, right? You only get
Inspire
one
me.
life.
And I'll tell you, man, there's nothing better than, doing those records with you and always looking over, and I always know there's going to be a smile over there. Mm-hmm.
I'll take it, my friend. I will take it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you can see Katie on CMT.
Yes.
And you can hear her in your Spotify's as the voice of SunKat. And, of course, Adam, you can hear him on all the Aldine records. You can see him on tour with Tim McGraw. You can catch him with Digital Brains and with SunKat. Check him out on the socials. Of course, big thanks to School of Rock for being our awesome sponsor. And, guys, if you have suggestions for guests, get us on an email address. The email address is therichredmondshow@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for subscribing, sharing, commenting, rating, and reviewing. All right, we'll see you next time on The Rich Redmond Show.
This has been The Rich Redmond Show. Subscribe, rate, and follow along at richredmond.com/podcasts.